G'day, welcome one and all to another set of Alliance War videos. This time around we are the Pirate Horde matched up against Elite Strike Force, which is run by my good old mate Juxtaposed Camel, who incidentally is actually my first target in this war. For those of you that have played PuzzleCombat for a while, Juxtaposed Camel, or Camel, and I, we've gone backwards and forwards over the years with the challenge events, being a bit of sparring partners, and yeah, it's led to something of a camaraderie between the two of us. So first hit is obviously on Camel, using a 4-1 setup using purple, mainly targeting that double yellow wing. Unfortunately, my opening board was pretty horrid, and my mid-game board is also turning out to be equally as horrid. Like, I'm getting a lot of tile matches in terms of the number of tiles that we've got available, but we're just not getting many purple tiles, and that's really hurt us quite a lot in this fight. So we've ended up losing quite a lot of health on the right hand side. Had Xenia be charge blocked, followed by a hit with sidestep, and considering she's my main healer here, it's not going too according to plan. Again, lots of tiles moving, but none of them purple, which is detrimental because all it's doing instead is charging Camel's heroes up. So down to 2. Finally managed to get rid of the tank after however long, and finally we start seeing some purple tiles come onto the board now, but it's a little too late into the game, unfortunately. So we'll keep playing it out, and we'll try to at least just inflict as much damage as we can. But yeah, this one doesn't go so well. So we do finally manage to line up a match 3 of purple tiles onto one of the 2 yellows and kill Vision instantly, but yeah, not to be with that first fight, unfortunately. So coming back in with a cleanup team, it's somewhat arbitrary. I've essentially stacked greens just to deal with Doodle, but at this point you can see the board is a little bit more friendly just to start ourselves off with. We've got more green tiles on the board than I think we saw purple tiles in the entire last game. So managed to get mortars fired. So yeah, I won't talk too much to this fight just because it's a fairly straightforward clean. The heroes themselves aren't even overly special in terms of who I brought along. So yeah, we'll just ride this one out. Bit of dodging going on from sidestep. So yeah, so it has been quite a while since we matched with, or since I've matched with ESF. It had been months before I even quit, and then I've been out for 12 months. So this has been quite a long time coming. So yeah, so just this is taking a little bit longer than I'd sort of anticipated on the opening board, just because of the amount of dodging going on. But between Grohl's Taunt and the tiles that were on the board, it did basically mean that it was hard to lose this fight at this point. Probably could have made the match 3 green onto Unicorn, saved myself a whole bunch of time here with all these tiles, but got there in the end. So got the kill. First board rather rotten, second board bit better. So another 4-1 purple setup, green setup, not purple. I'm not that colorblind. So this time around we do have Chainsaw, Iquani, and Emerald as the attack damage dealers. Nice little grenade followed by a second grenade. Some typical dodging going on with the revives, but doesn't really make a difference. So went with the charge block on the right hand side just to try to slow them down, but we ended up with some resists happening, but had a lot of green tiles there. So would have been nice if we'd had a board of this caliber in the first fight, but yeah, instead we got a little bit shafted. So that's the risky run in some of these situations. So yeah, just playing my tiles somewhat up the middle, targeting Xenia with all of the damage dealers just to remove the healing and revive. So at this point now it is just a clean-up job on Vision. He might fire once at this point, but I've got that much health and that much charge built up that it wouldn't really matter even if he did fire his special skill probably even twice, I think I'd be still very comfortable at that point. We can see the charge block from Emerald being pretty freaking awesome there. It means I can just dump tiles onto Vision and not really worry about him gaining charge from however many cascades there is. And yeah, we'll finish off with Chainsaw there. So 1 kill, or 2 kills, but one of them over 2 shots. So next one, reverting back to a more typical setup against green tanks. So we've gone with a 4 red stack and Doc Colton as an off-color healer. So it is a pulse flank, which is always a little bit concerning, just because if she does have an opportunity to really start firing, you don't have a way of dealing with those minions early. It can be quite troublesome to pull her out of the match later on. So saw a nice opening in terms of an initial red tile match, but since then it's kind of dried up a fair bit in terms of the red tiles. So I am kind of forced here a little bit into making a match straight onto a Yuumi just to try to get rid of her. And unfortunately that saw the loss of Bunraku, and yeah, but we did get Xenia charged and Doc Colton, so not the end of the world. I did manage to get Rudolph going, so he's removed all that counter-attack damage. Yumi's on her 2nd revive at this point, or 3rd revive I think now. But fortunately Pulse is gone, so there's that. So Flak just takes out poor old Accent, and we are copying the double shot from Ghost there. This reviving is getting a little bit excessive, not gonna lie. It is somewhat seemingly a bit too much, shall we say, but you know, whatever. I'm sure it's all working as intended. Sick. But yeah, so we got rid of a Yuumi there finally after I think about the 6th kill shot on her, and unfortunately Ghost did dodge the counterattack removal from Rudolph. Vision's firing. Doc kind of copped a lot of that, but we did manage to revive Bunraku, so we will target Flak just to give me more of a ghosting lane. So my goal is always to try and open up one side of the board as much as possible. And that basically gives me the freedom to make my tile matches without worrying about dropping them onto the opposing heroes. And then I sort of rely on the special skill damage output to really finish the job. So hopefully ideal situation here would be Ghost targets Doc on his own, which we do see happen, and that minimises the armor generation that Ghost can gain, because it's just the damage to one hero rather than all 3 of them. So bit more tiles, more special skill damage. Rudolph followed by Bunraku kind of does a lot of damage, and then Xenia doing her usual thing and not actually reviving anyone. I think we got 1 revive out of all the opportunities in that fight, so I don't know. I'm not convinced that Xenia's revive isn't broken. I feel like all the percentages from Xenia is applied to the Warfighter talent at this point, and so we're seeing an excess of one and a lacking of the others. So another setup against a Yuumi. So this time around went with it's a team I sort of experimented a little bit with. I sort of showed at least the majority of this team in a video on my channel called Scintillating Scarlet. So it was a bit of a showcase of the zombie hero Scarlet that I've included in this team. So as you'll see here, Scarlet with Rudolph and Blunderbuss does a lot of damage. When she hits, that is. So we saw 660 odd damage just off her first shot. So yeah, I really like Scarlet in that combination. So that fight kind of came and went very, very quickly. So final flag here, setting up against another Yuumi tank. I've gone with a double set of tie wire and brought along Brock to remove a Yuumi's buff should she make it. Once again, we see lots of reviving going on there from a Yuumi, and my tiles have somewhat dried up through the middle, So did get Brock fired, but he's not got too much to do at this point. There's no buffs to remove. I was sort of waiting to see what Ghost does, because Ghost does produce a couple buffs for her allies, but I decided that with the health that I had available, it wasn't going to probably last. So more red tiles. Unfortunately, we did trigger Dragon Fist and Ghost, and also now Dark Skull is charged, so it's kind of a 1-2-3. Did manage to get crit on Dark Skull, which is nice, but unfortunately lost one of my 2 healers, and half of the attacks there got dodged. So and then of course 0 Point starts chiming in. 0 Point does a lot of damage, particularly when she kills the enemy. She ends up with that 50% charge, so as a result, 1 turn later she's now charged again. And I'm in the unfortunate position where both of my heroes have less health than she does, so the damage output is just on crack. So we lost Doodle, and once again 0 Point is most of the way charged, but I think Ghost is going to, Ghost beats her there, only just. So poor old Brock doesn't stand a chance at this point. It's good game, Jova. So thanks everyone for joining me. Cheers, bye.